Hello and welcome to my first video in my N8n Zero to Hero series. The series is divided up into Foundation and Essentials, and this is the first Foundation video, which is building your first workflow, a quick start to doing that. Whether you're creating your first workflow or you're a Zapier or a Make.com pro looking for more powerful tools, you're in the right place. I'm Wayne Ergel, and in this video I'll show you how n8n can transform the way you work. From simple notifications to AI-powered business processes that run themselves, n8n makes it all possible, and I'll show you how to get started quickly. So what we'll cover in this video is what is automation, including a simple but powerful example, how to set up your n8n account, a run through of the n8n interface, essential resources that n8n provides you, and how to build a workflow. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of workflows, let's look at what automation really is. So how does automation benefit you? So time and resources. You're stretched thin, your team is stretched thin, and it's leading to burnout and missed opportunities. Boring, repetitive, and error-prone processes are killing productivity. A better picture of your business. You could be missing key insights. Obviously, you don't know what you don't know, and this incomplete or inaccurate data could lead to bad decisions. Improved customer satisfaction. Customers are frustrated with long wait times and poor service experiences. Improved employee satisfaction. Inefficient processes. Copy and paste is no way to run a business, and there's just too much clicking. So, the good news is that there are practical solutions to each one of these challenges that don't require massive investments or complex technology, and that's what we'll be talking about through this series of videos. So let's talk a little bit more about automation with an example. This is a basic email automation example. So let's just say you receive an email from a potential customer. Without automation, you might read the email, copy the information, add it to the CRM, send them a welcome message, notify your sales team, and schedule a follow-up. That's 6 manual tasks that require valuable time, prone to errors, prone to forgetting, so it's problematic. With automation, this entire process happens instantly while you focus on what matters most, growing your business. Okay, this is what an automation might look like, just in a block diagram, sort of wireframe form. Again, what we're doing here, what you do manually, read the email, copy their information, add it to CRM, send a message, notify your sales team, and schedule a follow-up. With an automation, you would be watching your Gmail or whatever mail service you have. When a new customer email comes in, you'd extract that data, put the data into the CRM, send a personalized message, key thing there and important, send a personalized message to the customer, notify your team in Slack or whatever notification system you might use, and then schedule a follow-up. All of that's done automatically. It replaces all the steps that you previously did manually, and it's done in seconds. So let's take a look at this a little further. Okay, so we looked at the steps in the automation. Let's do a little math here. Let's look at how long it takes to do those steps manually. So read and process the email, 1 to 2 minutes. Enter and copy data into the CRM, a couple of minutes. Draft and send an email, a couple of minutes. Notify team on Slack, a couple of minutes, a minute. Schedule follow-up, a couple of minutes. So roughly you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 11 minutes, give or take a minute or two. And that assumes, of course, there are no interruptions or login issues or any of that kind of stuff. This is in a sort of best case scenario. If you factor in employee cost, assuming an employee's doing this, that's $25 to $50 an hour, you're looking at 1 to 2 hours per day for 10 customer emails, 5 to 10 hours per week, 20 to 40 hours per month, and $500 to $2,000 in labor costs per month to handle 10 emails a day. That's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of wasted resource. But let's take this one step further. Let's assume you're a startup, a small company. You have a VP of sales who's doing this, and maybe they make this much, maybe they don't, but more than likely more than $25 to $50 an hour. But let's just use those for our assumption. So if you're looking at 7 to 10 minutes a day, or per email times 10 emails, that's 70 to 110 minutes daily. Direct costs, $100 to $200 just in manual processing of email. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is here: opportunity costs. While your VP of sales or your regular employee is doing stuff that could be automated, they're not working on revenue generation, they're not having calls, not meeting with prospects, not doing all of this stuff, not developing their team, not mentoring performers, creating training programs. Again, not doing that stuff, not doing strategic planning, analyzing market trends. The point is, if they're spending time doing emails, they're not doing that. And that is huge. One closed deal from a strategic meeting could be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, far outweighing the direct cost of manual email processing. Plus, there's the mental cost of constant context switching. So yeah, that's one thing I haven't talked about. There's real cost in time and resources. Mentally, it's a drag to go back and forth and copy and paste and do all of that you have to do manually. Okay, so now that we looked at that example, what is n8n? n8n is an automation platform that connects and automates tasks across different applications. It's no code, but also provides developer-friendly tools. It's built for beginners and power users. Power users love coding. I'm not a big coder, but n8n offers JavaScript and Python support. AI integration, so all LLM models, almost all of them are available, integrated natively into n8n. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and all of the other ones that you hear about in the news. And if there's one that's not, there's probably still a way to do that. n8n is low cost. You can self-host it locally or in the cloud. So you're self-hosting your own installation of n8n, and that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Now you have to maintain the servers and all of that stuff yourself, but no cost. They also offer a cloud plan, so it's hosted by n8n, and that plan starts at $24 a month. They have a different pricing methodology than other platforms like Make.com. n8n charges per workflow execution. So if you have a workflow with 200 nodes in it and tons of executions, you only get charged for that workflow getting executed one time. In Make.com, it charges per operation. So each time anything's happening inside a Make.com scenario, I think they call them, then you're looking at a charge. So that's a quick view of what n8n is about. I'm going to jump into the n8n website, show how to create an account, and go over the interface, and then we'll get to building a workflow. Okay, so here we are on the n8n.io website. I'll let you can explore that. Again, it's n8n.io. They of course have stuff here telling you about what they do, different use cases, documentation, which I'll get to, and these other things. But I'm going to show you real quickly the pricing. As I mentioned, if you self-host it either on your local computer or in the cloud, it's no charge. If you want to go for a cloud-hosted plan provided by n8n, then you're looking at $20 a month. That's annual, $24 monthly. You can see the Pro, $60 monthly, and then they have a enterprise plan. So there's a couple of ways to use n8n. This cloud-hosted plan, I think, is probably the easiest way to get started. It's what I did, and it actually is what I'm doing now. It works for me. I will be transitioning to a cloud-based self-hosted solution soon, but for right now the starter's working fine. So to get started, you would click this Get Started button. I'm logged in, so if I click that, it goes to my account, but you set up an account just like you would anywhere else with a username and password, email and password. All of that stuff is pretty standard, pretty straightforward. So that goes over quickly the website and pricing. Now we're going to look at the n8n interface. So here that is. This is my account. As you can see, I have a bunch of workflows here. This is the one we're going to be looking at in a moment. I have a content creator for WordPress, a bunch of different stuff. So this is just some work I've done over time. So here on the left we have, we're at the overview of our projects. My projects are all personal. I believe in the plan I'm on you can only have a project that's personal, although maybe you can add another one. I'm not sure. You could figure that out, I guess. Then there's an admin panel, which shows you your workspace, executions, number of active workflows, that kind of thing. I'm going to go back. Templates, which I will talk about more in a moment. Variables, which is applicable to the Pro plan and the Enterprise plan, from what I recall and remember. From what I don't know a ton about the variables. I believe you can create them and use them across your workflows, but I haven't really looked into that. I haven't needed it yet. There's a help section. I have an update. I'm on one version back, so I can update to the latest version, which I will do soon. So that's the left side. Here in the middle we've got all of our workflows, as I mentioned, a tab for credentials. So just like with any automation system, you need credentials. So if you want to get to your Gmail account, you have to create a credential to do that. YouTube account, Reddit, Perplexity. My website is in Webflow, and I have a way to create and upload content to it. So anything you have to connect to, you need to create a credential, and I will be going into that in a separate video and a little bit later here in this video. So that's the interface. I'm going to do one more thing before I get to creating a workflow, and that's look at some of the other things that n8n gives you that other platforms I don't think are quite as good at. And it starts with documentation. So they have a very good documentation system. Here's the URL. You can go through this, but if you want to know something, let's say about Gmail, here you could find out about the Gmail node, the trigger node, the operations. So it has a great search feature. And the really good thing about this, and I'll show you when I get in the workflow, is there's a link to it in the workflow. So you can click on it and get to the documentation. But definitely some great documentation, I think better than any other automation platform. The other thing that n8n has is a great community. This you can join when you're subscribed or when you have a plan, or I guess anytime if you decide to self-host. But as you can see, there's announcement, questions, tutorials built with all kinds of different categories here. I've used this more by typing in a question to Google and it coming back with the result, with a search result of a community post. But definitely a great community as well. And then finally, as I mentioned, showing you in the interface, there are a ton of templates to get you started. So they have 1,192 templates as of today, which is January 18th, 2025. You can search for them. There are some simple templates and some more comprehensive, powerful ones. But let's say you wanted to use this one, you just click on it. You can click to explore, and you could use the workflow by clicking here. So it exports a JSON file that you import into your workflow, and you have this. So a lot of great templates. That one's pretty simple. but there are some pretty complicated. Most of the templates are free, but some are paid. So great place to start. I actually haven't used any of them because as I was learning n8n, I wanted to create everything myself from scratch to get it into my head better. So anyway, that is that. Okay, getting close to doing an actual build. I just do want to show you one more thing, and that is, what does a typical n8n workflow look like? So what does a typical n8n workflow look like? I don't know if there's anything typical, but in general, this is what you're going to find. The first node is a trigger node, so it's something that makes the workflow start running. That could be manual, it could be an email received, it could be a chat interface, a number of different things, which I'll talk about more and go into detail in a video. So you're typically triggering somehow, you're getting some sort of data. Oftentimes you're giving that to an AI agent. That AI agent is doing something with it. So let's say that you have a content creation agent and you've given the AI agent a title of an article to write. It'll take that title, use whatever tools you might have connected to it, a memory if you have a database set up for the AI agent to consult, and then which model. This could be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, basically any of the models. So you've triggered, you're getting data, the AI agent is doing something. The data typically needs a transformation. This is one of the things I found hardest, was transforming data. I have Markdown that needs to be in HTML. I have HTML that needs to be in Markdown. I have JSON that has little funny characters in it that I have to get rid of. So there's a good bit of stuff to do here. So something to watch out for. And then finally, once you transform your data, it's output to somewhere. Say it goes to a Google Sheet or to a CRM or to Airtable or something. So that's what a typical workflow looks like. So now finally, I'm gonna get to a build. So this, if you recall my previous example of managing customer request emails. So here, that's what I've built here, not all of capabilities, but a very basic version of it. So what we're doing here is we're going to be watching our Gmail for any new customer inquiry email. And the way we're going to do that is just go and get our most recent Gmails and retrieve them. And then we're going to filter for a new customer inquiry. The ones that meet that criteria are filtered here, and then we're going to send an email response to them. So this is a manual trigger, not the way you would really do this. I'll talk about that in a moment, but for now it's the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to do a test of the workflow and then run through the nodes themselves. Okay, so it ran. That's good. And let me back up just a minute. Each one of these little boxes are nodes. I think Make calls them, I don't remember. I think Make calls them modules maybe. But anyway, n8n calls them nodes. And each node generally, well, they all have inputs and outputs. But here, we can see what happened in my Gmail get many emails operation. I limited it to 10, so it went to my Gmail account and got my last 10 emails. And as you can see, I got one here from John Bork Music. Make your pentatonic sound more fluid with this sequence. So that's my personal email account. And here's some other ones. But these are my last 10 emails. Now none of them passed the filter test, and you'll see that in a moment that none got through. So here I have the next node, and it's called a set or edit field node. I've changed the names of some of these, and what it's doing is more or less like setting a variable. I'm creating a name, and I created subject, and I want the subject of each one of the 10 emails to be output. So you type subject here, and I'll just show you this. You go over here and find subject, just drag it and drop it. And Gmail ID, again, I just typed that in. And I'll show you again. This is the email ID. Just drag it and put it here. And then the from is the same thing. I just created that by typing it and going and get from. So instead of me saying I just created it by typing, I'll show you. Let's say I wanted the thread ID, which is right there. I just literally type thread ID, go get it, put it in the value, and now I'm going to run just this step again by clicking test step, and you'll see now I've got my subject, my Gmail ID, my from, and my thread ID, which I didn't know that thread ID existed. I'll have to look into that. It might be helpful. So that's my email situation. Now here's my filter. I'm looking for emails that in the subject have the word or contain new customer inquiry. None of them do, which is not surprising. But we're going to get to that in a moment. So there's nothing that's going to be output here. All of those were discarded. All of my last 10 emails were discarded. None of them were kept. So let me go ahead, go to my email. I'm going to go to this email inbox, and I'm going to create a new email. I'm going to send it to my personal email and put my subject as new customer inquiry and say this is a test of the email workflow and send it. So there it went. I'm going to take that out of there. You'll see here in my inbox, let's refresh here. Here's my email I just sent. New customer inquiry. It's from me. Now when I go back to my workflow, you notice again we didn't have any that were kept. Now when I run the workflow again, it's going to go get the last 10, and it actually did keep an email. It kept one of the emails, and it's this one, new customer inquiry, the one that I just sent. Now something didn't work here. We want to get the message ID that we set, Gmail ID, and we'll test that step. Okay. I'm not sure why that didn't work, but anyway, that fixed it. So what that node is doing is getting the emails, the filtered emails, based on the email ID that comes with every Gmail. Alright, so that happened, and now it went to the send Gmail response node, and we'll go ahead and test that, and it should be sent. So we'll know. I'm going to go back to my email account, and this is the one I sent it from, so that's the one we get a reply from, and here's my email. Hello, thanks for your inquiry. One of our account representatives will contact you within the next few hours. Best regards, VP of Sales. Okay, so I forgot to mention how that part happened. So when the email is sent, I've hard-coded the email itself. So I'm always making the subject, thanks for your inquiry. So when the Gmail is sent, it's going to be sent to the email that requested the customer inquiry. So of course, so basically it's replying to the email. I've hard-coded the subject, thanks for your inquiry. The email type is HTML, could be text, I guess it doesn't matter. And then I just hard-coded this. So I wrote, thanks for your inquiry. One of our account representatives will contact you within the next few hours. Best regard, should be regards, VP of Sales. So that took part of the automation I talked about earlier in my example, and that was to get the emails and to send a reply. Now, let's say that you want to do everything that I talked about in the example, and I'm not going to do it in the workflow. I'm going to save that for another one, but just quickly I'll show you how you could do it. Okay, I just want to do a quick plug. If you're excited about the potential of automation and want to know more about how it can help you, I'm here to help. Book a free discovery call with me. There's a link in the description, and we'll explore how automation can make the biggest impact on your business. Thanks. By going back over here and looking at this diagram. So let's just take this example. Let's say a new customer is on their phone. They've come to your website. They want to know more about your product. So they put in their name, their email, they do a checkbox, which product they would like to know more about. They put in any additional information that might help, and then they click submit. Now this would go to an email inbox that's set up specifically for these emails, so you don't have to really search and see if it says new customer inquiry, because that's the only kind of email that would come into this inbox. So because of that, we're just doing on message received, so we're constantly looking for any new emails, and as soon as they are, we need to get it. And this time we're going to send it to an AI agent to do a personalized response, because now we know the name, we know which product that they're looking for, we know any other additional information. So instead of thank you for your inquiry, we could say, hello Fred, thank you so much for your inquiry. We appreciate your interest in our product number 1, and we'll be happy to get back to you within the next few hours, something like that. So we send that personalized email. We also automatically notify the salesperson. So this could be done through Slack. It could be from an email to them. And you would actually have some logic in here to figure out which salesperson went with this lead, or maybe you just have someone that chases these leads to start with or qualifies them. But anyway, the email sent, salesperson or someone is notified, and then a follow-up task is created in your CRM. And this is an important step, because what it does is it automates this whole process, and now you have a real record of how successful and how well your website forms are doing. So you create this task that says, Fred inquired about product A on Tuesday. The task gets created that day, and it's in there, so someone has to follow it up, and would either moved into a real opportunity that you could pursue, or maybe it's a false start and it's closed and doesn't need to be addressed any longer. The point is that that record gets created, and then it will require action to close it. Either it moves into a real opportunity, or it just gets closed because it's not something that needs to be followed up on anymore. So that's how you could take that simple workflow and turn it into something a lot more powerful. And that's the kind of thing we're going to be talking about further in these Foundations videos. Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. What we talked about here is how you can transform hours of manual work into an automated workflow that runs in seconds. But that's just the beginning. Next, we'll dive into a more comprehensive look into n8n architecture and building blocks, the common data types and formats, and more powerful workflow builds. All the resources mentioned here are linked in the description below, and I would ask you that if you found this content valuable, please consider liking and subscribe. If you found this content valuable, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks again for watching. This is Wayne Ergel. I look forward to sharing more about how n8n automations can help you.